Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian and this is the weekend ads video for week 21 of the fantasy hockey season. Now I'm recording this just a little bit in advance of when I usually do, so if there's a player that I mentioned who's injured, just disregard him and obviously just pick the next player up on the list. Before we get started though guys, please leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. More than half of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed, so it really would mean the world to me if you did hit that subscription button. And without further ado guys, let's jump right into the content for this video and let's start with the schedule for this weekend. As you can see here guys, on Friday there are 12 teams playing, on Saturday there are 24, and on Sunday there are 16. Now look in your lineup. Just because there are less games on Friday and Sunday doesn't mean that you can't fit a player in your lineup on Saturday. So go ahead and check your lineup and see where you're able to fit a player. If you're able to fit players both Friday and Saturday, well, this next section is for you. Now, there are two teams that play both Friday and Saturday. Those teams are Calgary and Ottawa. So if you do want to stream a player for those 2 days, you have to choose from one of those two teams. The number one guy that I recommend streaming is Josh Norris of the Ottawa Senators. Plays top line and top power play in Ottawa with Brady Tkachuk. And he's a really, really good player. Definitely the number one streamer if he's available in your league. Then I have Blake Coleman of the Calgary Flames, plays on their second line with Mikael Backlund, and that's also a pretty good place to be, and he's relatively hot right now. He's getting points every couple of games, and he's putting up some decent peripherals. Then I have Tim Stützle, who's playing on the second line, as well as top power play in Ottawa, and he's pretty hot right now as well, so I definitely don't mind that stream. And I have Connor Brown of the Ottawa Senators, and he's playing on that top line with Josh Norris and with Brady Tkachuk. And he's a really good player. He shoots the puck a lot, and he's someone who's super reliable. So definitely a really, really good streamer for this weekend. And then I have Mikael Backlund, who's playing on that second line with Blake Coleman. And while he's not the most reliable player, because if he doesn't get you a point, he doesn't do a whole lot, he's still decent because he does get a point every couple of games or so. Then I have Colin White of the Ottawa Senators playing on their third line, but is still playing on their top power play. And because of that, he has a little bit more value than some other Senators like Alex Formenton, who's playing on their second line with Tim Stützle. Was really hot earlier in the year, has kind of cooled off, but I still don't hate him as an ad if you really do need someone for Friday and Saturday. And then I have Zach Sanford, who's playing on that third line with Colin White and Nick Paul. The reason I have him as number 8 is because he offers a safer floor, because he does hit and shoot the puck a decent amount, and that's why he's better than some other options. Now, if you have room in your lineup on Friday and Sunday, which is the most likely scenario, you're going to want to stream a player from the following teams: Buffalo, Carolina, Philadelphia, San Jose, Washington, and Winnipeg. And the number one guy I recommend streaming is Logan Couture, who just squeaks onto this list at 60% rostered. Somehow he's gotten down to 60% rostership. And guys, he is playing on the top line with Timo Meier as well as the top power play. He's going to heat up and he's going to start getting a lot of points just because of that deployment. Hurdle is no longer on a line with Meier, it's Couture. So Couture is definitely someone that I like to own right now. And then I have Cam Atkinson of the Philadelphia Flyers. He's been pretty much one of their best players all year, other than like Giroux. Atkinson has been as reliable as it comes in Philadelphia. He scores a decent amount of goals, and he's put up, a pretty decent amount of points. So definitely a pretty safe grab there if he's available. And then I have the Buffalo trio of Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch, and Jeff Skinner, all of which play on the top line in Buffalo as well as the top power play in Buffalo. And while they've cooled down a little bit, they're guys that shoot the puck a nice amount, which automatically gives them a safe floor. And if they start to heat back up, oh boy, you're in for a lot of points, which is really, really nice. And I have Andrew Kopp of the Winnipeg Jets, who's playing on the third line in Winnipeg. But that third line currently has Nick Ehlers on it, so I'm not too worried about that. Kopp is someone that I like to pick up for this weekend. Then I have Travis Konecny, who's currently playing on the top line with Claude Giroux. Obviously, Giroux will probably be traded, and that won't last too long, but for this weekend, that's a perfectly fine streamer for me. And then I have Nino Niederreiter, who's playing on the third line in Carolina, but he's relatively hot right now, so I don't mind the streamer there either. Derek Brassard is someone who's this high on the list because Scott Laughton just got injured, and he's manning the second line with Farabee and Atkinson, as well as manning the top power play in Philadelphia. So that's a really good deployment. And at only 1% rostered, he should be added in some more leagues. Then I have Paul Stastny of the Winnipeg Jets, who's relatively hot right now and is playing on the top line with Scheifele and Wheeler. That's a great place to be. Then I have Jordan Staal, who's also relatively hot right now, playing on the third line with Nino Niederreiter. Don't love the deployment on the third line, but he's relatively hot, so I really don't mind the stream. Then Kyle Okposo of the Buffalo Sabres, playing on the second line with Olofsson and Mittelstadt. Don't hate that, and he's relatively hot as well. He's been pretty solid all year, so I really don't mind adding him. Then I have Anthony Mantha of the Washington Capitals, and he's a really good player, but he hasn't quite yet performed to expectations. So until he does, I'm going to keep him this low on the list. Then I have Joel Farabee, who's playing on that second line with Brassard and Atkinson, which is pretty good deployment, and he's playing PP2 as well. Then I have Garnett Hathaway of the Washington Capitals playing on their fourth line, which isn't great, but he does tend to give you a pretty safe floor with hits. And then I have Connor Sherry, who's playing on their third line in Washington, but Connor Sherry is relatively hot right now. He's shooting the puck a nice amount, which is giving you a safe floor with shots on goal. Moving on to forwards that play Saturday and Sunday. So if you got room in your lineup on both Saturday and Sunday, you're going to want to stream a player from Arizona, Chicago, Dallas, the Islanders, the Rangers, or Vancouver. And the number 1 and 2 guys to stream, and it's not even close, guys, it's Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. They've been on fire lately, and they just make for really excellent streamers and guys that you can keep on your team as well, honestly. Then I have Brock Nelson, the Islanders, centering their top line with Beauvillier and Lee right now. It's a pretty hot line right now, so definitely a good streamer there. Jamie Benn, who's playing on the second line in Dallas. He's relatively hot right now too, so I don't mind that. Lawson Krause, who plays on the second line with Phil Kessel. And he's playing a top power play now, and he's been pretty good all year. Gives you a safe floor with those hits and those shots on goal, so I don't mind him. And Anders Lee, who I already mentioned, is really hot right now with Brock Nelson and Anthony Beauvillier, so a really good streamer there. JG Pageau, another really hot New York Islanders, centering their second line right now. And as long as he stays hot, guys, he's a really excellent streamer, as well as someone you can keep on your team until he slows down. And then Dylan Strome of the Chicago Blackhawks is someone who's also scorching hot right now. He's got 10 points in his last 5 games, and that's just awesome, guys. So as long as he stays hot, you should definitely be streaming Dylan Strome. And then I have Tanner Pearson and Connor Garland, who are both playing on that top line with JT Miller, and as long as they stick there, they're really solid streamers and guys that you can honestly even keep on your team if you wanted to. Then I have Alexi Lafreniere of the New York Rangers, who's playing on the top line with Zibanejad and with Chris Kreider, which is a really good place to be. He hasn't been producing that much, but the deployment is there, and he definitely could put up a point or two. And then I have Brandon Hagel of the Chicago Blackhawks, been one of the big bright spots in Chicago all year, and he's playing on the line with Taves and Kirby Duck. Now, Taves is finally starting to turn things around a little bit, it looks like, and Brandon Hagel is putting up some points, so definitely don't mind that. Then I have Denis Gurianov, who's playing on the second line with Sergei and Ben. It's a solid deployment and should put up at least a point in 2 games. And I have Travis Boyd of the Arizona Coyotes. And if Arizona starts scoring like crazy again, Travis Boyd is likely to get caught in the crossfire and at least get a couple points. He plays on that top line with Keller and Schmaltz. Therefore, at only 1% rostered, might be a really worthwhile bargain to try to stream him. And then I have Tyler Mott of the Vancouver Canucks. He does play on their fourth line, but he is someone who offers a really safe floor. He shoots the puck a lot. He likes to hit. And the dude likes to score some shorthanded goals, and he scores goals in general a lot. So Mott is definitely someone that I don't mind adding, especially in leagues that count hits. And last but not least, I have Kyle Palmieri and Anthony Beauvillier of the Islanders. And the whole team right now is pretty hot right now. So odds are you can just point to someone, and they're putting up points right now. So if you want to stream an Islander, right now seems like a good time to do so. And Palmieri and Beauvillier are some really solid options. Honestly, I could have had them even higher in this list. Moving on to defensemen now, and first on the list is Rasmus Andersson, plays top power play in Calgary, really hot right now. Then Josh Morrissey plays top power play in Winnipeg, doing pretty good, gives you a safe floor as well. Dmitry Orlov is someone who's a good streamer. He's been really good all year. Surprisingly, he's putting up some solid peripherals, and he's putting up a point every so often as well. Jacob Slavin is someone who's still manning the top power play in Carolina, so I don't mind that. His peripherals are kind of there as well. And then Shane Gostisbehere is the person who's manning the top power play in Arizona, and when Chychrun's gone, guys, Gostisbehere is going to be the #1 guy, and he already is basically. And he's been pretty solid all year, so I definitely don't mind the streamer there and holding on to him for sure after that. And then I have Essen Lindell, who for some reason right now is getting a chance on the top power play in Dallas with Klingberg and that top line of Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski. As long as he sticks there, he's a really good streamer. And then I have Luke Shen, who's always given you a really safe floor night in and out because the dude hits like crazy. Obviously, don't pick him up if you're in a league that doesn't have hits. And then I have Travis Hamonic, who lately has been giving you a really safe floor as well. He's been blocking a really nice amount of shots. He's been hitting a little bit, and he's also been shooting the puck and putting up some points, which has just been fantastic. The points won't continue, but the peripherals should. Then I have Rasmus Ristolainen, who lately has been fantastic as well because he's been hitting like a madman. And as long as he keeps doing that, he's a solid streamer in leagues with hits. And then I have Ryan Pulock, who's been putting up some points lately too. The Islanders are really hot right now, a lot of the players, so Pulock is also one of those guys who's putting up some points. Brandon Dillon is someone who's going to give up you a pretty safe floor with his hits and blocks. Martin Fairbury is also a guy who gives a pretty safe floor with hits and blocks. Brady Shea of the Carolina Hurricanes is someone who's putting up points every now and then, and he's shooting the puck a decent amount as well. And then Noah Hanifin and Oliver Shedington are last on my list, and they're guys who, they're not my favorite, but definitely put up okay peripherals and could put up a point every now and then as well. Moving on to the categories league section of the video now, and let's start with some shots on goal. If you need to catch up on shots on goal, or you want to make sure you win that category, maintain your lead, you're going to want to add one of these guys. Tage Thompson, Skinner, and Tuck are the number 1, 2, and 3 best ads because they shoot 3.3, 3.2, and 3.1 times per game respectively. Then the next best guy would be Cam Atkinson, who shoots 3 times per game, Blake Coleman, who shoots 2.9, Andrew Kopp, who shoots 2.8, Connor Garland, who shoots 2.8, and Noah Gregor is not the next best option after Connor Garland, but he is 0% rostered, so if everybody above him is already taken, Gregor is someone you could add to get probably around 5 shots in 2 games. Then if you need blocks, the number 1 guy to add is Ryan Pulock, who blocks 2.6 times per game. Calvin DeHaan is number 2, blocks 2.6 times per game as well. Travis Hamonic, 2.5. Jake McCabe, 2.2. Tyler Myers, 2.1. And Essa Lindell, 2.1 as well. And he has some point upside as well with power play deployment that he's currently getting. Moving on to hits now, and the number 1 guy to add is Luke Shen, who hits 4.3 times per game, which is a lot. Ryan Reeves hits 4.2 times per game. Clutterbuck, 3.9. Ristolainen, 3.6, Matt Martin, 3.5, and Parker Kelly, 3.4. And if you need face-off wins, the number 1 guy to add is Jonathan Toews, who's actually on a hot streak right now too, so he may actually be a solid add for points as well. He's been winning almost 11 face-offs per game. He's definitely a solid add, should win you somewhere between 20 and 22 face-offs in 2 games, which is absolutely fantastic. JG Pajot averages 9.7, then Jordan Staal 9.4, Couture 8.3, Josh Norris 8.0, Michael Backlund 7.7, Barrett Hayton 7.4, Cody Eakin 6.6, and Travis Boyd 6.2. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.